Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to a Crucible of War market update. We do these market update videos every week for each set. So yesterday we did Monarch, today we're doing Crucible, tomorrow we're doing Arcane, and the day after we'll do WTR. Part of this, I do have a collection tracker as part of my Patreon. It takes all that data that I do on all these videos, puts it into a collection tracker for you to manage your collection, to see what your collection value is based on sold listings, recent sold listings of the cards. If you're interested in that, go to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG, or just KitchenTableTCG.com has it as well. And patrons, you just got a Midtown Merchant 10% off discount code as well. Patrons, you get that every month, one code to use per month. If you're not a patron, you can use the code BEKIND to save $5 off your order of $50 or more. Thank you so much to Mitch over at Midtown Merchant for supplying those codes to us on the channel as well as to the patrons. And then I do have a link in my description for a TCG Player affiliate link as well if you want to support content like this. All right, let's talk about boxes of Crucible of War. We're sitting at around 1,200 for boxes, sealed boxes. If you pick up, I'm going to put it at 1,150, which is down $100 from last week. The entire market is soft, 100%. Every asset of Flesh and Blood right now is soft. It's crazy. So we're down 8% this week. We're down 4 weeks in a row from our previous high of 45.50. And if you look on eBay, there's some weird sales too. Like this one for $670 doesn't make any sense. There's enough of them at the $1,100 mark. This one even for $1,800 also doesn't make sense. So I'm kind of playing both games there, right? Like it is what it is. So I'm going to go with 11.5. That seems to be the accepted price on, especially on Facebook too. Facebook, they're even a little softer on Facebook. If it's just hard to sell them right now. So Crucible boxes sitting around 11.5 for a box. So kind of, not quite down to where we were when this kind of big up started at the beginning of April. It kind of was at 1,000. So we'll see if it crashes down below that kind of blip or not. But that seems to be where we are. Talking about the Fable, let's go ahead and look at the Arknight Shard. You can see this also spiked back in early April, kind of to a peak in the middle of April for 7,500, and now we're getting closer to that price point that it was. It kind of started that at 4,100. Now we're down to 5,200, which is down 5% from last week. This one is actually on Facebook currently, and it's been on Facebook for 3 days. It's not like the most minty version of the card, but it's also not in like terrible condition or anything like that. So for a raw kind of normal condition, you're sitting 5,200 is not selling in 3 days. Again, the market as a whole is very, very soft. This will be a determination of, does the seller want to lower the price or just wait for the market to kind of recoup its kind of losses right now and move forward. So interesting, at 5,200 that has not sold in 3 days. The price adjusts that the price is maybe a little lower. I don't know. You do with it what you want. I'm just trying to, there's no other sold listings on eBay, TCG Player, anything. I think there was one that was graded a 9. Let me pop it up because I don't want to miss out on telling you that. I think it was graded a 9. It was actually graded 9.5. Arknight Shard. It was actually graded 9.5, but it didn't have the subgrade. So that's really important in Flesh and Blood. We like the subgrades. So it sold for 6,800 US without subgrades. So again, take that for what it is. I would say that would still be more than a raw card. Obviously it's a 9.5, but it doesn't have the subgrade, so that means that they have to get it re-slabbed if they want the subgrades, or they have to crack it and re-slab it. And to set it in and get re-slabbed, it's a different processing thing. So that being said, if you're interested in that sale, 6,800 for a 9.5. My guess is that a true 9.5 would sell for more than that. That was kind of had the grades, the subgrades. So all right, let's go to the legendaries. Sitting at legendaries, I could not find something for Cheyenne. One of my friends told me that there was a Cheyenne that sold, but they were not able to find the actual listing. So we'll leave it at what it was last week. Let me know in the comment section if you know of a Cheyenne that sold, or if you want me to include it, then send me a PM on Facebook or whatever, and I'll include it if you show evidence. Like, you have to show me a picture, but I couldn't find anything on Facebook, on Discord, or on eBay TCG Player. Spring Tunic for 450, and there was a Twinning Blade. That one was interesting too. There was a rough condition Twinning Blade that sold 20 blade extended. Sorry, I usually have these all popped up, but apparently I'm lazy today. There's a rough edition 20 blade that did sell for $11.50. But this was, it wasn't terrible. It was, well documented and whatever. But it just wasn't. I mean, it's got some scratching on the top. I mean, look at the scratching. Some of them might be photos. The corners are obviously not super good. All the corners had somewhere. Just not the best looking one. The front actually looks pretty good, but the back, the grade on this is definitely not going to be higher than a 9, probably an 8.5 with some of the scratching going on this back. And so I didn't want to label this as near mint because that's kind of the idea here. So I just wanted to be transparent with that thing. That's why I put it in orange. There's one that sold for $11.50, but it's not like a near mint version. So all in all, just down 1% there. Looking at the cold foils, it was soft this week, down 8%, which was softer than last week. Your average, the difference is that less sold. So, 3 less, about 3 less sales of the rares, 3 less cards, individual cards, selling is kind of significant. It just means that less are entering the market available at these prices. I don't know. The market is soft. It's also dry. Like the market is both soft and dry at the same time, which is an interesting place to be. We're not sky falling. The sky's not falling out from underneath. They are selling at these prices. Zephyrinito at 120, Centauri Saber, we are selling at 200, Plasma Barrel Shot at 142, Talishar down to 160, Harmonized Kodachi down to 150. So they are selling. The sky's not falling out of them, but it's just also dry. There's just also not a lot on the market. It's kind of a weird double-edged, I guess, edge of autumn. Anyway, moving on. Majestic cold foils are also soft. Breeze Rider boots for $4.25. There was a Courage of Blade Hold. Man, I didn't pull up any of these. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I did pull this one up. There's a Courage of Blade Hold, a 9.5 quad that sold for $2,800, that's a significant sale there. But what that tells me is that this kind of 1,000 is it's there. There's currently one on TCG Player for $9.50. That's why I kept that price. A lot of people take like 2x or 2.5x. It would be 9.5. So that would kind of put us right at 1,000. I think that price is pretty accurate. Visitronic at $700, Perch Grapplers at $500, Metacarpus Node at $800, and Gambler's Gloves went down to $625. All in all, your average Majestic cold foil average is sitting at $705. Your average rare cold foil is sitting at $128, and there are not common cold foils in Crew. So I don't know why you would think that. Anyway, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Rainbow Foil Majestics, which are down 16%. I mean, these are soft. It's crazy. Down 16% is a lot. That's down harder than I think we've ever seen it down. We saw it down 12 and 15% way back in December. But this is the most we've ever been down week to week. We had some hard pushes, up 20%, up 28% at the beginning of April with some of the Monarch spoilers, but those have come and gone, and here we are down 16%. So, very interesting. Let's look at some specific cards. Sorry, I was pulling that over for you. Some specific cards that are down. Twinning Blade down to 116. There's a couple others I wanted to highlight. There was not a Rainbow Foil Fine Center that sold. There's just across the board, everything's down. It doesn't matter what card. Rumbla Berry is down a lot. Chain Lightning down to 91. Across the board, everything out. Gorgonian Tome sold for $225 on eBay. Snake. There was a really weird Aetherize. I wanted to say, I won't pull it up. I'll just tell you. There was a weird Aetherize that sold for $16 for Rainbow Foil that was on auction. And that was one of the ones where it's like, did the auction end early or something? I don't know how that happens. I don't think there's a way to do that on eBay, but $16 is, I think you would be able to sell a Rainbow Foil Aetherize at snap of the finger for $16. I'm going to use that as an outlier. I'm not going to use that. There was also one that sold on TCG Player for like $78 or something like that. So the TCG low this week is this price. That's $76. So again, make sure you're doing your own homework and not just looking on one market. Because if you just look on eBay sold listings this week, you'd be like, oh my gosh, an Aetherize is $16. That's crazy. So, but across the board, everything is down pretty significantly. Feigned Death down to 25. So it puts your average down, an average to $64, which is down 16%. And looking at that graph, like we're getting down to where it was before the spike that happened as a result of Monarch and the spike that happened as a result of the print numbers being released. So that was very, very surprising to me. So the regular Majestics, on the regular Majestic side, we are also down 5%. There's also another world here where it's like, how does Unlimited fold into this? How does, the release of Crucible of War Unlimited in a couple months or whenever it's going to happen affect all this? That could have some effect on the market. All in all, I personally think that would affect more on the non-foil side, but apparently I'm wrong because the non-foils are only down 5% this week. Okay, again, everything's across the board. There's no like individual thing that's significant. Although there's another Ranger card here, Poison the Tips, that's down almost 50%. So maybe that has something to do, but all in all, the market's just kind of down in general. If you're looking on all the sold listings, Breeders' Rider Brutes is actually up though. That's the only real non-foil that even kind of moved that direction. So the rare rainbow foils, remember I just used TCG low and then I take out any outliers, but we are down 5% on TCG low, which is actually slowing down from last week. And the week before was 12%, then nothing, then 11%, now 5%. So, we are still stepping down in a little ladder action there, going down or step down. But all in all, your cards still have some value. Cass-Eye still has some value. Cavdane, all your heroes are still the focal point for these rainbow foil rares. Springboard Somersault, Cash In, and Lunging Press all holding pretty steady at the prices that they were at as well. So all in all, your average is sitting at $13. You're down 5%. And for the rares, don't forget there is some value currently in the rares. This will be really interesting to see how Unlimited affects this. Now, WTR Arcane, when their unlimited sets happened, there was really no effect on the first edition. And in fact, more players came into the game as a result of the product being easier to get. And so the prices actually went up as the collector market went up as well. So that could still happen with Crucible. And that's kind of where I actually think is going to happen. But one of the things that might happen is it'll be really interesting to see where these land, these rares, and then the Monarch first edition rares when Unlimited comes out too. So it'll be a really fun market to watch in the next 3 months, I think. I can't wait to provide that for all of us as we look at all the stuff. So common rainbow foils, the only thing that matters here is your foil rune chant. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but if you use foil rune chants, it does 2 damage per rune chant instead of 1. That is sarcasm. That's not actually what happens, but those are sitting at 325. Cracked Bauble, still sitting at 93. Quicken at 10. All those kind of tokens, I love it. The tokens in Crucible are great. I actually hope that in Unlimited there's no rainbow foil tokens. Could you imagine if there was none of that? I think that would be a funny little thing that they did to continue to give those some value. But anyway, your average is sitting at $3.67, which is down 7%. All right, let's look at our EV. So in each box, you're going to get yourself 1 cold foil, and this averages out the Majestics to being half as likely to get as the I almost said commons, as the rare. So for every 2 rares, you should get 1 Majestic. That's how that calculation is out. You get 6 Majestics, 2 foil Majestics, 41 rares, 5 foil rares. 1 in 10 boxes will have a legendary. 1 in 40 boxes will have a fable. That means that if you open 40 boxes of Crucible of War, you'd be sitting at an EV of just under $1,100, which, the box price is $11,500 or $1,150, and this is $1,100. So you're very close right now to your value. So it is almost worth it to buy a box of Crew and crack it open. But if you don't hit a legendary, you don't hit a fable, then your average would be sitting around $745. Now, if you hit a rare cold foil, then your average would be sitting at $679. But if you hit a Majestic cold foil, you're actually over. So you're kind of taking a gamble here, and you'd be just over $1,200. So let's take a look at the box EV and how it compared to last week. 1,100. we are going to be down 6%. So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row that we are down. Although the trend line for the cards, it doesn't seem as harsh as the trend line, in my opinion, looking at just it just doesn't seem as harsh as the box prices. That's because boxes are a little bit more liquid, so they're easier to sell. And so as a result, people sell them easier. Or, a lot of people rather sell a sealed box for $1,100 than $1,100 worth of singles, because it's harder to move $1,100 worth of singles. So, all right, let's talk about the top 10 cards to lose or gain value. The foil gainers, not much moving this week. Arc Smash up 6%, Skullhorn up 2%, and Metacarpus Node up 1%. This is what the losers usually look like. This week the gainers not really much moving. The non-foil gainers, that Breeze Rider Boots up 28%, Magnetic Shockwave up 20%, and Heron's Flight up 11%. Lots of stuff losing value this week. Runeblood Barrier Rainbow Foil down 48%. I hate to see that. I love that card. I think that's one of the best Rainbow Foil looking cards. Talishar down, this is the cold foil, down 40%, and Coax of Commotion, all Louis' favorite cards. This proves that Louis doesn't know what he's talking about. All my favorite cards are down. Coax of Commotion down to $40, down $27 to 40%. And then non-foil losers, Poison the Tips, Ranger card down 42%. Twinning Blade, it's actually down 27%, and Absorption Dome down 25%. I think that Unlimited is definitely weighing in a little bit, which in my mind, I'll share my opinion here for you a little bit, but I do have a podcast if you're interested in more of my opinions at the $15 tier of my Patreon. But I think that the Unlimited is scaring some people off. That's easy money right now. Twinning Blade being down means that you could sell a Twinning Blade for $72 and pick up the Unlimited one. That's probably going to happen. Long term, though, if you care about the finance of this game, that's going to be a mistake long term, because the first edition product we've proven with WTR and Arcane that first edition product matters. So it'll be interesting to see what happens long term. That being said, if you're interested in having all this as a collection tracker, head on over to KitchenTableTCG.com, where there's a link to my Patreon. And then if you're interested in buying some singles as well, make sure you head up Mitch over at Midtown Merchant. The rest of you guys, remember to have yourself a good day and be kind to the people around you. And thank you so much for watching the videos.